Hello, 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 and welcome to a spiritual remedy conversation and meditation. My name is Sunshine Day, and I'm your spiritual living coach. If you are experiencing doubt, depression, anxiety, if you're in recovery of any kind, or you're experiencing depression, fear, anger, I am your spiritual living coach, and it is my goal to provide you the personal tools for personal transformation. And these are spiritual tools for personal transformation. My focus is people in recovery. However, you don't have to be in recovery to benefit from these spiritual tools. You see, because I see a world where clean and sober people, where people in recovery, where all people are living their best life and loving it. So that's why I come to you on Wednesday evenings at 6 p.m. Pacific to be able to have some conversation and to provide a meditation that we might begin to live our best life. So welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're here with us for the first time, I want to let you know that you're in the right place, and I thank you for stopping through. Why don't you go ahead and let me know that you're hanging out with me by leaving a comment where you're in live from, whether it's in on the West Coast or the East Coast or the middle of the country. Maybe you're in Hawaii on the Hawaii time zone. Maybe you're in Australia or somewhere in another part of the world. Let me know where you're viewing in from so that I can know that you are with me. This month, in the month of January, we've been looking at clarity. And we've been uncovering clarity to such a degree where we're almost halfway through the month already, right? Today's the 13th of January. And still there's so much more to dissect and to uncover. Now, check it out. We're working from my book, Begin Within, a playbook for living your genuine life. And this month, like I said, we're working with clarity. And the definition of clarity, right, is freedom from obstruction. Clarity is, being clear, free from uncertainty, free from doubt, clear, brightness, splendor. When you imagine if you're the captain of a ship and you're traveling along the seas, it would be a lot better if you were operating and being the captain of that ship on a clear day, because you can see before you everything that is visible to the eye. Of course, under the sea wall, you cannot see there. But imagine for a moment that, you're navigating your ship, which is your life, right? And it's foggy. You're going to have to depend upon some instrumentation to be your guide. And even when it's a clear day, a good captain still uses instrumentation to make sure that she or he is on course. And it's the same with us. Without clarity, without knowing where it is that we're headed or where we even are, there's no way to really go forward or move forward in life, especially in recovery. Like, how do people, stay abstinent from food or sex or gambling, or even get out of debt, or, recover from drugs and alcohol when they are not necessarily clear on the path that they are to take? When folks are experiencing doubt and depression and fear, they're not clear. Some folks are not even clear as to how to get out of that funk, And so in today's conversation, I want to be able to bring forth another universal law and tie that into clarity, and why clarity is so important in living our best life. Now, the law that I want to bring into action today is an immutable law. Immutable means unchanging. It cannot change, and even over time, it cannot change. A mutable law is a law that's liable to change. It's liable to change. It can change at any time. But this law that I'm bringing into play today is called the law of mentalism. And it's an immutable law. And pretty much what the law of mentalism states is that all power is within, and that everything that is material, all of our thoughts, our feelings, sensations, what we hear, all of it, that everything we see, hear, feel, taste, touch, experience in life has its origin in the invisible mental realm. Wow. So everything has its origin in the mental realm, which says to me that thoughts become things. I know that you've heard that a lot. Thoughts become things. You know, when I think about if I want to design a chair or something comfortable to sit on, at first I have a mental picture of what that is. And I try to put that mental picture and try to draw it down. All famous designers of couture and furniture and clothing and, you know, all kinds of things, you know, even creators of parks, we first start off with a mental picture, and then it is created into the material realm. But in order to have something stable, something useful, something that can be worn, you got to start with this mental picture, but it has to be clear on what it is you want. What size, what color, what shape, what substance, what materials are you going to use? Because clarity will bring about that perfect item, that perfect thing, that perfect experience. The clearer we are mentally about what it is that we want to experience, it's to that degree in which we actually experience it. Therefore, the theme for the month of clarity, because clarity works well with the law of mentalism, meaning, again, that all power is within, and that everything that is visible and even invisible, our experiences, all have its origin in the invisible, in the mind, And, you know, sometimes we think that it's the thinking process, but it's actually an activity of consciousness. An activity of consciousness which is actually beyond the thinking or the mentation possibility and the mentation practice, the practice of thinking and trying to figure things out. You know, when we are clear, so for instance, if I'm clear that I'm done with drugs and alcohol, right? The clearer I get, the more crystallized it becomes that I begin to live a life of sobriety. And so I can either focus my attention on not drinking or not drugging, or I can actually become even more clear and focus my attention on sobriety. You know, it's the same thing with folks who are determined to lose weight or work out. They begin to see and have this mental picture, but it's also combined in consciousness. And it is that consciousness that once we get really, really clear, it's in consciousness that we actually begin to manifest and experience that which we have become so crystal clear about. And what is necessary, again, one more time, as I really drive this point home this month, is the 3 S's, right? Slow down. In order to get clear, right? In order to have clarity, it's slow down, stillness, and silence. When we're able to slow down enough to even begin to ask ourselves the question, around clarity. And even before we even ask a question around clarity, sometimes we need to know where am I, and really drive home to what's my location? Where am I at? Where am I at? Am I between a rock and a hard place? Am I tired of this despair, of this doubt, of this fear, of this anxiety? Am I tired of using food to fix me, or using sex to fix me, or gambling, or drugs, or alcohol, or using, the news and drama to fix me, or to fill some blood sucking, some attention sucking something within me to feel better? And inevitably, when I go down that path, I never feel better. And so where am I? Am I tired? Are you tired yet? Are you tired? Because the question then becomes, is if the answer is yes, the question is then, are you willing to grow along spiritual lines? Because the bottom line is, you can have physical abstinence from food or sex or gambling or drugs or alcohol, smoking, pot. You can have the physical abstinence. You can even begin to see clearer, a little bit clearer in your mind, and have a therapist to talk to. But are you willing to grow along spiritual lines? A lot of times people put that last. And no wonder that there are so many folks with years and years of sobriety, with years and years of abstinence, with years and years without, putting into their bodies that thing that, that no longer serves them, but yet they still fall misery to prey. They fall prey to misery, not misery to prey, but hey, they fall prey to misery and doubt and anxiety and fear. And that's because there's something missing. And what's missing is the spirit part of the whole mind, body, spirit connection. I love it that people have found ways to be abstinence and to be in recovery. And yet, when we don't follow through and have a balance in our lives, dang, it hurts. And it hurts even more, right? We feel it even more, I think, because we don't have the substances, or the relief that we once found, by gambling or drinking or smoking weed, or getting into the drama. So the solution here is a spiritual remedy, right? When we have a spiritual malady, a spiritual sickness, the solution is a spiritual remedy. We must be willing to grow along spiritual lines. And the question to ask ourselves in this moment or any moment is, am I tired? Am I tired? Even though I haven't picked up a drink, even though I haven't picked up my drug of choice, my situation of choice, am I tired of living the way I'm living? Lackluster, despair, doubt, fear, anxiety, anger. Because if you are, a spiritual remedy is the solution. And that spiritual remedy has lots of fun parts to it. So it's not a death sentence. It's actually a life thrill and experience. And because this universal law, the law of mentalism, is so apropos to clarity, and it just so fits this discussion, is because the power is within. The power is within. There within you is this power and this presence and this life force, the life force, prana, the life force, the thing itself that is breathing you and living you. The thing that separates us from a corpse, not being morbid, but the thing itself, that power, that presence that separates you from a corpse is power. And you can use it. You can use it for good. for your good, for the good of humanity. And if you allow it, it can use you for good, for the good of humanity. And so the question then is if I'm tired, am I willing to go to any lengths? Am I willing to go to any lengths to have a different experience? Am I ready now to have a different experience? And if you're ready to have a different experience, go ahead and type yes. Go ahead and type yes. I'm ready to have a different experience. I'm tired of the BS. I'm tired of the belief system that has kept me unconscious and separated from consciousness. You see, because we had to admit that our patterns of beliefs and behavior no longer serve us. What we've been doing up until now, even though we might be clean and sober, even though we might be abstinence, even though we might be following a food plan, even though we've been doing certain things, there's something that's not serving us. And that something is not surrendering to a spiritual remedy. And so it's really about coming to believe that by reconnecting with this power and presence within you, it's right where you are. You ain't got to go anywhere. But by reconnecting consciously, reconnecting with your own consciousness, that you can actually reestablish health and peace, and you can thrive. You can thrive irrespective of what's happening in the world around you because of the law of mentalism. Everything in the universe created with thought. So what is the thought and the thoughts that you're entertaining and that you're continuing to use over and over again that continue to bring you the despair, the doubt, the anxiety, the depression, the fear, the anger? And if you're ready to move away from that and step into the greatness, step into your greatness, right? What was that question? Like, what is obstructing you from your freedom, from your greatness? Is it possibly that what's obstructing you from your freedom and from your greatness is your inability or your unwillingness to grow along spiritual lines? What if just growing along spiritual lines gave you the freedom and the greatness you've been waiting for? What if we just begin to simply shift our thinking and change our mind and begin to see ourselves thriving instead of dying? Now, here's another concept as well, right? Like, if we look at people who are part of like recovery communities and things of that nature, right? What has happened for them is this. What's happened is that they meet somebody who believes and who sees themselves as being free from like alcohol, drugs, or sex, or whatever other issue, has kept them in the sickness. And because they believe, then what begins to happen is that there's a community of people who begin to see that life is possible in a different way, and they begin having a different experience. That's called collective consciousness. And so it goes beyond me. Like, yeah, I can see this for me, but sometimes when I'm stuck and I can't see it for me, I get to have a spiritual living coach like me, right? Have somebody who says, oh no, here's the truth about who you are. And here's how you can just tweak your thinking or see things a little bit differently. Have that clarity that you are eligible to, that your life is worth having a spiritual remedy. And so, beloveds, this is the kind of conversation that I want to be having with folks. This is the kind of a community that I want to continue to build, where we can actually begin to really support one another in being super clear and being crystal clear about where we see ourselves years from now. and where we get to stop seeing ourselves as that, dope fiend or alcoholic or that good for nothing that was, like we get to stop seeing ourselves in that way, because, that is no longer who we are. And it's never been who we are. It was what we have become as a result of using chemicals and substances and using people, places, and things to feel better. It was who we had become as a result of thinking about lack and limitation. It was who we had become because we didn't know the truth of who we were. I know the truth of who you are. That's why I'm here, because I know the truth of who you are. And to the degree in which you become clear as to who you are, it's to that degree that you begin to live your best life. And that's why I do what I do. So we have a few minutes left, and I would love to lead us in a short guided meditation. And so if you're up to it, the invitation is to gently allow your eyes to close. And you can just give a good exhale sigh. It's almost like this release and this letting go. And if you can't close your eyes fully, just cast your gaze upon something inspirational. But already notice the quality of your life when you just pause like this. Notice and just become willing and ready to release any unconscious behavior that separates you from your greatness. If you had life your way, which by the way you do, but if you had life your way, fully, what might you be experiencing instead of the despair, instead of the doubt, instead of the anxiety, instead of the depression or the fear or the anger? And so, to help us out a little bit, if I had life my way, I would be experiencing life with clarity, with peace, with abundance, with beauty, creativity. I would be experiencing life in an orderly fashion, with excellence and prosperity and wisdom. I'd be experiencing life with maybe joy and harmony. Now pick one of those words. Maybe joy or health or wholeness. Just begin to get clear. Is there anything blocking me from my wholeness, from my joy, from my peace? And if it's revealed, be grateful about its revelation. Now, what must I embrace and release in order to experience clarity? What must I embrace or release in order to experience peace in my body, in my mind, in my circumstances? What must I release to experience joy? What must I embrace to experience joy? And allow those answers to well up within you. And if you need to write them down, write them down. If they're colors or phrases or words, whatever it is that, and however it is that it comes to you, see yourself experiencing the wholeness, the health, the abundance, the prosperity, the peace, the joy, the freedom, the clarity. See yourself fully living as that. Put a smile on your face. And just give thanks. Just like, wow, I'm grateful that I experienced that, even if it was just for these few minutes. And right from there, just open your eyes. Open your eyes and see life surrounding you with that kind of joy, with that kind of like, it's already done. That's my life. Because that's the use of mentalism, where we begin to see our life the way we want it. And then life begins to provide us the pathway, the walkway. See your life as a sober person, as a person clear and free from drugs and alcohol, or whatever it is that's holding you back. See yourself just living freely, free from doubt, just living your best life, right? And begin to practice that. The clearer you get, the clarity, that's why we're going over clarity this month. The clearer you get in seeing that picture of yourself thriving, living fully, you get to experience more and more of it. I promise you. I promise you that that's what begins to happen when we stick to this kind of creating, co-creating with life, our very own path. Now it takes some practice. So remember that I'm your spiritual living coach and that I'm here to guide you and to really support your process. Not only am I your spiritual living coach, but I'm also here on a regular basis, knowing the highest and the best for each and every one of you, individually and collectively. So make sure you pick up my book, Begin Within. You can get it on Amazon.com, Begin Within, a playbook for living your genuine life by me, Sunshine Daye. So you can follow along with us for the rest of the month and the months to come as we continue to explore how to set ourselves up to live our genuine life and how to live our best life. Until the next time, know that you are deeply loved and appreciated. Bye for now.
Celebrate life. You celebrate your life. Celebrate the memories, the birds and the trees, the hugs and the kisses, the hits and the misses.
Don't wait till it's too late.
Don't wait till it's too late.
Love and appreciate.
Love and appreciate.
Show them that you care.
Show them that you care, and you'll always be there.
Yeah.
Celebrate life, rejoice, rejoice. Celebrate life, rejoice, rejoice. Celebrate rejoice, rejoice.